Hi, you guys. Today I'm going to talk to you about being a victim. And I'm going to talk to you from a different angle than what most people talk about when a person plays the role of a victim. And when I say plays the role of a victim, I like to use terminologies like that because honestly, whatever we decide to do in life is always a role that we choose. When I was younger and I was very isolated, and I was kind of brought up, under fear because of religion. And the religion that I was involved in was very Protestant, much more than that. It was very fundamentalist. And I venture to say sort of cultish. And my mom doesn't like it when I say that, but it was it was pretty hardcore, and so there was a lot of fear of me being influenced by the outside world. So I really wasn't allowed to have friends. Um, I had very few. I had one friend that I became friends with in high school, and the only reason I was able to really become friends with her was because she was a part of a version of the religion which is called the more liberal side. So, and it was still very scary for my parents. So, anyways, back to what I was talking about. I was isolated, and so I really didn't learn social skills when I was young. So when I got out there and I started trying, everybody would like look at me like I was an oddball. When I was old enough, moved out of the house. I moved out when I was 17, and I was out there trying, and I was looked at like, who are you? I mean, the only teachings I had was the Bible and morality. And so it was, I mean, I didn't play sports, and it was, I didn't have the social skills everybody else had. So my mindset was different. And so people were just looking at me like, oddball, oddball, which it created a lot of depression in me because I felt very outsider-ish, um, which I have to say gave me a stronger sense of spirituality because I leaned more on that when I was going through that. So, anyways, I that whole isolation thing and and depression and all that kind of stuff um, kind of put me in that whole victim mentality. So that's why I wanted to talk about that. So you'll notice a lot of the things that I talk about are things that I actually had to overcome. I find that so many of my clients come in to see me, and I can really relate to them because I've been through that. And um, so I can understand what it feels like to be a victim. And, and kind of falling into that role was real easy for me to play the role. And again, I'm saying playing the role because eventually what I decided was to play a different role. And I had to put that in my head um, to overcome it. It was kind of that old saying, fake it till you make it. And I literally told myself that I was like an actress and that I was going to put myself out there and play this role. And so whatever we decide, whoever we decide we want to be, literally is a role that we choose to do. And this can be really reinforced a lot more. I've seen it reinforced a whole lot more with my partner Shane, and I've seen him like literally take on a role of something completely different. Like he'll shift into a whole different mindset so easily, and I find that so fascinating how well he's able to do that. And and suddenly he becomes that person completely, like a chameleon. And he does it so quickly. I mean, other people are able, they just don't fall into that so well. And when that particular role entraps him, I have to kind of remind him that you can choose something different. You can go into a different role. Okay? So, back to the mindset of a victim. When you get into that place and that mindset, and you are being a victim and you're playing the role of a victim, a lot of the things that ends up coming up in your head is, why are they being so mean to me? Why can't they see me for who I am? Why can't they see that I'm really trying? Why can't? And it's very frustrating when you know that you're putting all this effort into being this person, or um, making these adjustments for this person that is the victimizer. And it's really frustrating when you feel like that this person can't see you. They can't see that. All they see is the mistakes, and they see that you screw up here, and they don't look at anything except for like where you've done something wrong, and most of the time it's made up. So a lot of times victimizers will start to accuse their partners, wives, girlfriends, whatever, of cheating on them, and that seems to be a real common thing. And the girl's not cheating, so they'll start. Why did you talk to that guy? Why were you looking at him like that? And it goes into this whole like dynamic where how do you fight something literally that you're not doing? And that's really difficult. It's like you're fighting for something that you're not doing. And from going through a lot of different things in my life, I would say that that's one of my biggest pet peeves, is to be accused of something that I didn't do. It's like, if you go there, you just hit a hot button, you know what I'm saying? So, anyways, one of the things that that has really helped me and has calmed me and has kept me from losing my mind or getting out of control or getting angry or hurt or broken or falling apart and crying, and because you feel like your mind's just kind of going all over the place when this is happening. And it's the change your perception, okay? Because here's the key. Now remember this is very, very important. The key is that a person cannot see past who they are. Okay, now let me explain that to you. It doesn't matter how good you are. They will never see the good in you if they don't have good in them. If they don't have a spark of light in them, then they can't see that spark of light in you. If they're a cheater, they're going to think you're cheating. If they're a liar, they're going to think you're lying. If they're deceptive and manipulative, they're going to assume you are. So they're not going to get past that. And the only way that they're ever going to get past that is for them to start to believe the goodness within themselves. Once they see the goodness in themselves, then they'll be able to see the goodness in other people. I had a client I was talking to the other day who was talking about their own issues with feeling judgmental. And they said, why am I like this? Why am I like this? And the thing is that if you're feeling this way, and because we got into that, she feels that other people judge her, and she wanted to know how to get over that. And I said, well, stop feeling like, judgmental towards other people. And you've got to heal the person inside first before you can start worrying about how everybody else, acts and how you perceive that they act, because you're not going to change that perception about how other people perceive you until you start to perceive yourself differently. So as long as you think you're not worthy, you're going to perceive that everybody else thinks you're not worthy, and you're going to perceive everybody else not worthy. So then you can kind of turn into like a victimizer if you go that direction. So looks like the light kind of dimmed on my computer a little bit. Okay, so back to the victim. When you are being a victim, the person will accuse you of things that you didn't do, or feelings you don't have, or actions you didn't do, or thoughts that you never even perceived. Um, being vengeful, cheater, you know, having an attitude, whatever. All those things will happen. And the way for you to get outside of that mentality and stop playing the role of a victim, because the role of a victim is going to be poor me, I'm being abused, I'm getting hurt, why am I always hurt, why am I always in pain, why do people keep on doing this to me? That's a victim. Okay? Getting outside of being a victim is to see that the person that's doing this to you is incapable of seeing that light in you. It's like a colorblind person, okay? They can only see greens, blues, browns, whatever. I'm not colorblind, so I have no idea. Although I've talked to people who it's different for each person. So their capability of what they can see is very limited. So how they perceive the world is going to be through how they perceive themselves. So for you to get outside of that victim mentality, you've got to start with understanding that that person is incapable of changing the way that they look at people. And they will always perceive those people that way until they change the perception within themselves. And you will always be a victim as long as you perceive yourself as being unworthy of love, attention, kindness. And when you start to feel that you're worthy of that, then you can find people in your life that point that out. It's very, very uncomfortable to sit in the presence with somebody who's better than you. It feels odd if you're trying to be friends with somebody like that, or a partner with somebody like that. So that's why victims end up being victimized over and over again, is because they don't feel like they're worthy to be with somebody who's better and that treats them well, because they feel like they're not good enough for that person. So you want to stop being a victim, then you need to start loving yourself. You need to start seeing your own light. You need to start here. I think it was Michael Jackson that said, "Man in the mirror, you want to change the world, then you start with self." Okay? So you start internally and you start working on you. You start loving yourself, you start seeing your self-worth, and you start to find that inner light inside of you. And when you believe that about yourself, then you'll start being able to connect with people like that. You'll be able to see the goodness in those people, and you'll be able to connect with people that do see the goodness in you. Anyway, this is Michelle Thompson signing out. Have a great day.